Picture this for a moment. You're sitting quietly, maybe with a cup of coffee in hand, thinking back over the years. Life's been a long road, hasn't it? There have been joys, big ones, like watching your kids grow or hitting a milestone you never thought you'd reach. But there have also been those quiet, heavy moments, the ones that sneak up on you. The times you trusted someone with your whole heart, only to watch them walk away without a second glance. Or maybe you poured everything into a job, a friendship, a dream, and it still crumbled, leaving you wondering what went wrong. I felt that too, that deep ache that settles in when the world doesn't match the effort you gave it. And in those moments, you might have promised yourself, never again. I'm not letting anyone hurt me like that anymore. But then, somehow it happens again, doesn't it? A different person, a different story, but that same old sting creeps back, like an unwelcome guest you can't seem to shake. I've spent decades digging into the human mind, unraveling why we feel the way we do, and I can tell you this, it's not just coincidence or bad luck that keeps pulling us back into that pain. There's something bigger at play, something inside us that we don't always see. Carl Jung, a brilliant thinker who understood the soul like few others, once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their soul." Let that sink in for a second. It's a tough truth, isn't it? We spend so much time pointing fingers at the friend who let us down, the partner who drifted away, the boss who didn't see our worth. But Jung would gently nudge us to look the other way, to turn inward. Because here's the thing, it's not always about what they did to us. Sometimes it's about what we haven't faced in ourselves, the parts we've tucked away, hoping they just disappear. And until we do, that hurt keeps finding a way back, wearing a new mask each time. Here to just talk about the problem, I want to help you shift it, really shift it, into something that doesn't weigh you down anymore. This video isn't about building walls around your heart or pretending you're untouchable. It's about growing a kind of quiet strength, the kind that comes from knowing yourself so well that the ups and downs of life can't knock you off balance. Imagine this for a minute, a day where someone's careless comment doesn't send you spiraling, where rejection doesn't feel like a judgment on your worth. That's not a fantasy. It's possible, and Jung's wisdom lights the path. Over the years, I've seen how his ideas can change people, how they can take someone who's been bruised by life and help them stand taller than ever. So in this journey we're taking together today, we're going to explore a handful of his deepest insights, truths that can protect your peace and lift your spirit, no matter what comes your way. Let's start with the first piece of this puzzle. Your pain doesn't begin out there in the world. It starts right here, inside you. Take a second to think about the last time something got to you. Maybe your neighbor said something sharp over the fence, or your grown kid forgot to call on your birthday. You felt that twist in your gut, that heat rising in your chest. Why does it hit so hard? As an expert in this field, I can tell you it's not just about that one moment. It's deeper than that. Jung taught us that what stings isn't always the words or the silence, it's what they wake up inside us. Picture it like this. You've got these old, quiet wounds tucked away, maybe from years ago when you felt overlooked as a kid or when someone you loved made you feel small. And every time life brushes up against those spots, they flare up. Say your spouse comes home distracted and barely nods at your day. Sure, it stings right then, but it's not just about them. It's pulling up every time you felt invisible, every time you wondered if you mattered. That's the real hurt, and it's been sitting there, waiting for a trigger. Here's where it gets interesting. Jung believed our inner world is like a lens. It colors everything we see out there. It's why one person can hear criticism and let it roll off their back, while another feels it like a punch to the gut. It's not the words doing the damage, it's what's already inside, waiting to be stirred. Think about a time you snapped at someone over something small, like a spilled glass of water. On the surface, it's just water, right? But underneath, it might have been a long day, a week of feeling ignored, years of carrying not enough. That's what Jung called the shadow, the hidden parts of us we don't always want to look at. And until we do, life keeps finding ways to press on those sore spots. But here's the beautiful part. Once you start to see this, once you realize the hurt isn't all about them, you've got the power to change it. You don't have to wait for the world to be kinder. You can heal what's within. And that's where we begin to build something unbreakable. Now that we've laid this groundwork, let's dig a little deeper into how your mind can trick you into feeling that pain more than you need to see how the real hurt often comes from within, from those quiet wounds we carry around without even knowing it. But let's take this a step further, because there's a sneaky little trick your mind plays that makes the pain feel bigger than it needs to be. As someone who's walked through Jung's teachings for years, I've learned this truth the hard way. Most of the time, it's not you getting hurt, it's your ego taking the hit. Now, that might sound strange at first, so let me break it down for you. Picture yourself at a family gathering, maybe a big Thanksgiving dinner. You've spent all day cooking, setting the table just right, hoping everyone enjoys it. Then, out of nowhere, your sister-in-law makes a little jab. Something like, "Oh, the turkey's a bit dry this year." Ouch. Your chest tightens, your smile fades, and suddenly you're wondering if you messed up everything. Why does that one comment sting so much? It's not your soul crying out, it's your ego, that part of you that craves a pat on the back, a well done, a little nod that says you're special. Jung had a way of cutting right to the heart of this. He said, the bigger the crowd, the more negligible the individual. What he meant is that our ego loves to stand out, to feel important, and to be the one everyone notices. So when someone overlooks us, brushes us off, or doesn't give us that gold star we're secretly hoping for, it panics. It's like a little kid stomping their foot, saying, "Hey, look at me." Let's try another scene. Say you're texting a friend, catching up after a while, and you're feeling good about it. You send a long message, maybe share something personal, and then nothing. Hours pass, maybe a day, and still no reply. That silence starts to gnaw at you. You wonder, did I say something wrong? Don't they care? Your mind spins, and before you know it, you're feeling small, ignored, and even a little angry. But here's the catch. Your deeper self, the calm, steady part of you, isn't shaken by that. It knows you're still you, reply or no reply. It's your ego that's throwing the tantrum, desperate for that friend to say, "You matter." This is where Jung's wisdom shines, and it's something I've seen shift the way people live over and over again. He didn't want us to puff up our ego, to chase after more applause or stack up validations like trophies. He wanted us to see it for what it is, just a noisy part of us, not the whole picture. Because when we tie our worth to what others think, to how loud they clap or how quickly they text back, we hand over our power. We let the ego run the show, and it's a shaky boss, always rising and falling with the wind of other people's moods. Let me paint another picture for you. You're at work, maybe nearing retirement, and you've been putting in extra hours to finish a project. You're proud of it, quietly hoping someone notices. But when the meeting rolls around, your name barely gets a mention. Someone else gets the praise. You drive home, stewing, maybe muttering to yourself, "Why do I even bother?" That's your ego talking, wounded because it didn't get the spotlight. But your true self? It's still there, steady, knowing the work mattered, even if no one said it out loud. Spotting this, it's like flipping on a light in a dark room. You realize that sting you feel isn't the end of the world. It's just your ego kicking up dust. And the more you see it, the less it controls you. Jung's whole point was to help us grow beyond that fragile little voice, to find a deeper anchor inside. Because here's the real freedom. When you stop needing the world to prop you up, you stand taller on your own. Let's bring this home with something we've all faced: relationships. You meet someone new, maybe a neighbor or a date, and things feel promising. You open up a little, share a story or two, and then they pull back. No call, no text, just quiet. Your mind starts spinning. What did I do? Am I not interesting enough? That's the ego again, tying your worth to their response. But what if you could let that go? What if their silence didn't shake you because you knew your value doesn't hinge on their nod? That's the kind of peace Jung was pointing us toward, and it's closer than you think. Now that we've unraveled this tricky game the ego plays, let's shift to how other people's words and actions often say more about them than they do about you. Pulling back the layers of how our mind can amplify hurt, how the ego jumps in to make every slight feel personal. But now, let's shift the lens a bit, because there's another piece to this puzzle that can set you free in ways you might not expect. As someone who spent years guiding folks through Jung's ideas, I've seen this truth light up lives time and again. When someone snaps at you, criticizes you, or pulls away, it's often not about you at all. It's about them. Jung called this projection, and it's a game changer once you get it. Imagine you're at the grocery store, chatting with a cashier who's usually friendly. Today, though, she's short with you, barely looks up, and maybe even rolls her eyes when you ask for a bag. Your first thought might be, did I do something? Am I being annoying? But hold on a second. What if she's just had a rough morning, maybe a fight with her spouse, or a kid who wouldn't get out of bed? That sharpness isn't about you. It's her inner storm spilling over. Jung put it beautifully when he said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." But flip that around for a moment. What bugs them about you might just be their own shadow showing up. Let's say your brother's always quick to call you stubborn. Every family dinner, he's got that little dig ready. You never listen, you're too set in your ways. It stings, and you might start wondering if he's right. But step back. Maybe he's the one who hates being challenged, who digs in his heels when anyone disagrees. That stubborn label he's pinning on you, it could be his frustration with himself, tossed your way because it's easier than looking in the mirror. I've seen this play out so many times. Folks who nitpick others are often wrestling with the very thing they complain about. The coworker who calls everyone lazy might be dodging their procrastination. The friend who says you're distant might be the one afraid to get close. Once you spot this, it's like putting down a heavy load. You don't have to carry their stuff anymore. Brushing off every word that comes your way, some feedback's worth hearing. But there's a difference between a kind nudge and a loaded jab. You'll feel it when it's projection. It's sharp, off-kilter, more about their heat than your truth. And when you stop soaking it in, when you see it as their story, not yours, something shifts. You don't need to argue or prove yourself. You just let it pass, like a cloud drifting by. That's the kind of strength that grows with time, and it ties right into what Jung taught about letting go. Because here's the next big piece. Real peace comes when you stop clinging, not to people, not to their approval, not even to the hurt itself. I call this conscious detachment, and it's not about turning cold or shutting down. It's about caring deeply without letting that care pull you under. Picture yourself sitting with an old friend, catching up over tea. Like you share a worry, maybe about your health or your grandkids, and they barely nod, change the subject. Before, that might have sunk you, left you feeling unseen. But now you notice it, feel the pang, and let it go. You don't need their ear to feel okay. You've got your steady ground. Jung believed we heal by pulling back those projections, by not expecting others to fix us or fill us up. And in my years of working with this, I found it's like learning to float. You're still in the water, still part of life, but you're not drowning anymore. So when your son forgets to check in, or a neighbor's gossip stings, you feel it, sure, but you don't let it own you. You ask yourself, what's this stirring up in me? Where's this old ache coming from? And then you breathe, you release, you heal a little more each time. That's how you stop feeling hurt, not by dodging life, but by facing it with a steady heart. As we wrap this up, I want you to know this. Small steps like these can rebuild your spirit piece by piece. You've got everything you need inside you to rise above the noise, to find peace that lasts. So, what do you think? Ready to try this out? Drop a comment below and tell me what spoke to you today. If this hits home, give it a like, subscribe to Ageless Philosophies for more, and let's keep walking this path together. Here's to a stronger, calmer you at any age.